Hi, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. This is Laura Renner coming to you live from Freedom Makers Virtual Assistant Services, and we are sharing with you our blog for this week, which talks about how cash is king and how important sales is to small business or to business in general. I want to start by sharing a story that a conversation I had with a mentor a few years ago. It was when we were first getting started, and I said something like, I just feel like until I have an office, it's not a real business. And he so quickly was like, that's just ego. And once he said that, it just blew open my mind because sure enough, I was fixated on the wrong things. I was fixated on the ancillary parts of business that, the cool, the fancy parts, like look at my office, look at my fancy business cards or my fancy website, like all the different things that we think are important to our business. And if you're not taking care of the most basic element, which is sales, which leads to cash, then really you're just wasting time, you're wasting effort, and you're wasting sales opportunity. And so what he told me, the story that he told me was he had a company and his employees, I think at one point they were working out of his house, like out of his spare bedroom. And I don't remember how many there were, but quite a few, maybe 10 or so. And they were all kind of cramming into his house. So he thought, well, this isn't going to work anymore. And so they went and got an office space. It had a big conference room and all this stuff. And then one of his key employees came to him one day, and that key employee's father had fallen ill. And so he asked if he could move back home to care for his father, but still continue to work for my mentor and his company. And so, of course, he said yes. He wanted to make sure he supported his employees as much as possible, especially in a situation like that. And so that guy moved home to his father and cared for his father and continued to work. And then, like, one by one, other employees started approaching my mentor, because if that one employee could do it, then why couldn't they all do it? And then soon enough, it was just him and his assistant in this giant office with all this space that they didn't need. And so once he saw that and recognized that, he moved out of the office and moved basically the company back into his home. But he was saving something like $5,000 a month once he moved out of that office space. He bought a new truck with that money. And so he was just like, that's just ego. If you don't need it, you don't need it. And I thought that was such a poignant point, especially for us. We're a virtual business. There's really no reason for us to have office space except for ego or for looks or things like that. And so I share that story with you today to share with you how things like that can feel like a need for your business, but really they may just be wasting money. Now, it might be that you need a co-working space just because you're more productive when you're not at home, or you are meeting clients, so you need something where you can meet clients in a professional setting, and that's fine. Now we've seen this explosion of co-working spaces where you can do that, where you can rent it for a day or even for a few hours to be able to meet with clients and things like that. And so that's totally fine, but do you need to be locked in a lease for something that's ancillary, right? So related to that, then what the point of this Facebook Live today is about is how sales is the most basic element of business. Like, you should be selling whatever else you're doing, like the office space or whatever. If it's helping you make sales, that's one thing. But if it isn't, then really it's a distraction. And another story, we didn't include this in our blog, but it was a story that someone told me of a personal chef. And he ended up spending something like $20,000 on his website. And it was like one of those fancy ones where people could book and make reservations or reserve times when he was going to come to their house and prepare their meals for them. And the thing is he had been in business for a while. Like, he started his business with word of mouth, people passing his information onto their friends when they saw how well the food was done and how much easier it made it on the families to ease that one aspect of their lives of just having healthy, well-cooked meals prepared for you rather than having to do it yourself or whatnot. So he grew to the point where he could afford a $20,000 website, where he needed a $20,000 website in order to run his business efficiently and in a sophisticated manner. But when he started off, he didn't go spend all that money on a website. He built it through word of mouth. And so that's another example where build it focus on your sales, and then eventually you can focus on making things more sophisticated or more efficient to be able to grow your business, which we'll talk more about in the coming weeks. So that's the other thing. So that's the main point is, cash is king. So you want to reduce your spending on unnecessary things and focus on bringing in cash, which is through sales. And once you've taken care of that, the next step is being responsive to clients, focusing on the client experience, because when you're responsive to them, then they come back. And when they come back, that leads to more sales, more cash. So first priority should be sales. Second priority should be client experience. And after that, can you focus on the things that will help improve your business overall? But those are the two main things. So if you see your friends or you yourself find yourself feeling almost like judging yourself or feeling distracted by things that aren't sales or client experience related, I encourage you to step away from that and focus on the most important element of small business. So with that, I do hope you have a fun time tonight, whether you are celebrating Valentine's Day or celebrating Singles Awareness Day or just eating chocolate because you love chocolate. Just have a great day, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.